Hi, I'm Samantha and I'm here from Thread Collective to talk to you about my Ashford e-ball winder today. Now, I've had my ball winder since late 2020, maybe early 2021 when they were first released, so I can't do an unboxing for you because I have no idea where the box is anymore. But out of the box you get your ball winder, your AC/DC adapter to plug it in, you get your foot switch, it comes with a clamp. I can't guarantee this is the exact clamp that you do get with it because I have a bunch of them around the studio and I can't remember what goes with what, but they all work. And you get your little drive band thing. So all you're doing to set it up is you're popping your little drive band over the ball winder into this groove on the main drive wheel there, and then over this little groove on this little pulley here as well. Then we need to plug it in. Foot switch goes into, it's all underneath here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There's two little holes in here. One says input and one says foot switch. So find the one that says foot switch, plug it into the right one there and you'll be right. And then put your power into the input. There we go. And then at the other end, we have our on-off switch, which has a little indicator light to tell you if it's on standby, or if it's got a snag. There's a speed control dial that you simply rotate from slow to fast. Ashford do recommend starting on the slowest option and then turning it up as you wind, just to see what the right speed is for the yarn that you're winding. There is also a soft start function in this, so when you turn it on, it's not going to go straight to full speed. So that's something to be aware of. And then there is also a little switch so you can reverse the direction of the ball winder. So if you need to unwind your yarn for some reason off the ball, you can hit that and it will go in the opposite direction. This beautiful ball winder is made out of New Zealand silver birch, which is, I believe, a New Zealand native tree. It's got a lovely sort of lighter coloured timber look to it. It does have a very subtle grain through it. So it's a lovely looking piece of equipment. It is quite compact, so to me it's comparable to manual ball winders that I've had in the past. I like the jumbo sizes. I know that there are some more compact ones that wind smaller balls of yarn, but for me it's a great size. I can pick it up, I can move it around the studio as long as I'm close to a power point, whether that's with the AC/DC connector or with the optional cigarette cord thing. I can never remember what it's called, that you can plug into the car or a caravan if you're traveling. So let's do some winding. My space isn't big enough to have the Swift set up in here today because I've got the camera where I normally have the Swift. We're just going to wind some more yarn off a pern. That was the little ball that I made. This was a 400 gram skein of fingering that I wound a few weeks ago. My daughter's been using it, so it's not quite as pretty as when it was first done. So yeah, let's get started. So there are two ways that you can control the machine with the foot pedals. One way is when you turn it on, you can hold this switch down and turn it on. And that means that it's going to just be an on-off switch. So on at the moment, obviously I've got this turned up to full speed, I think. No, not quite, so it's full speed. And then off. On again, just because I can. And off. I don't recommend using it in this way. I don't think Ashford do either. So how you are supposed to use it, and the kindest way to use it for your yarn, even though it has the soft start feature, which means that it's going to start up slowly, is to not touch that as you're turning it on. I'm just turning down the speed too, because you're not supposed to start it on full speed. Turn it back on. Now this operates like a normal kind of sewing machine treadle, so when it's got pressure on it, it will stay on. When that pressure is released, it will turn off. And that's the ideal way to make sure that you are keeping a close eye on your yarn. If it gets any snags or anything, it's not going to break or cause your ball of yarn to look really ugly. I'll just hold down on that, and so you can see, I think that light should be flashing at the moment. It'd be on standby kind of thing, and as it ramps up, I'm gonna check because I can't remember. Yep, so the light's gone solid now because it is on and functional. I believe it will start doing some weird flashy things if you have a bad snag, but I haven't encountered that yet. And then off. Just so you get an idea. There we go. Okay. When you're winding your yarn, you pop it over this little groove there to secure it. Some people put like a toilet roll or a little bit of cardboard around there to make sure that their inside stays nice and tidy as they're knitting. I don't normally bother. I haven't had too many instances of yarn barf in all the times that I've used this thing, so I'm not worried about that. I think it winds a really nice ball of wool. There we go. Through the pigtail. It's a very skinny yarn, so it's not going to want to stay on there either. There we go. Okay, so I'm through the pigtail here, which you can rotate as needed. So you can rotate that if your winder gets to, I think it's about 400 grams capacity. It's for like large balls of wool. So if it's starting to get really big, you may want to rotate that around. So put it there. Ashford recommend you hold your yarn down at a 45-degree angle. Make sure I'm turned on. Put a little bit of speed on that. I'm going to use my elbow so I can reach around here. This is very awkward. There we go. Now that we're started, it's a bit easier. So what you should be doing as well is just applying a small amount of tension as the yarn's winding off on that 45-degree angle. I find when it's coming off the perms, it comes off so smoothly. I don't need to really worry about that, but if I were winding from a Swift, I would be manually holding that yarn down on this angle to just make sure that it's going on nice and evenly to make the nicest looking ball of yarn, which will help me avoid yarn runoff. So who should buy this? It is really more tailored to the luxury end, I suppose. It does have that higher price point, but to me it was a very worthwhile investment because one, I wind a lot of yarn, I spin, I weave, I knit, so I wind my hand spun on this, I wind everything on this. I also have arthritis, so to be able to use my foot rather than hand cranking was just a lifesaver. If you're winding a lot of yarn, if you have mobility issues, 100% recommend. If you only wind yarn infrequently or very small amounts of yarn, I would consider a manual ball winder instead. But it's up to you. So if you have the money, you like how it looks because it is quite a pretty piece of equipment, even if you're not winding yarn much, it might be worth it for you. Just going to take this off now. So pull that over there. Pull that off there, and we have our itty bitty ball of yarn. There we go. Just to wrap up, if you have any questions about one of these e-winders, I am more than happy to answer them. I absolutely love it, and if I had to buy another one, I would, but honestly, I can't see this thing ever giving out on me. It just doesn't skip a beat. Yeah, highly recommend. It is almost an essential studio tool for me. The other thing to remember when you're done winding for the day, loosen that tension. If you don't loosen the tension on your drive bands, whether that's a ball winder or a spinning wheel, regardless of whether it's a poly band or cotton, it will stretch over time and then you'll need to replace it more frequently. Thread Collective and Ashford do sell replacement bands. Contact the shop if you need some, but I've never had to replace it and I think I've probably still got another couple of good years in it. I try to make sure that I'm storing in the shade and not in the direct sun, and just really remembering to take it off each time I use it. So yeah, I hope this helped with your decision making. Reach out if you have any questions at all.